everyone, and welcome again to Revelations Seminar. I'm Arthur Mendenhall, the host, and my co-hosts are Sheri Magee
Hi, y'all.
and Keith Campbell.
Hello.
Keith is going to give us a recap of what we've been discussing for the past few weeks, and then we're going to continue from there once he have given us a recap.
Well, to do a recap on what we've done for the past 3 weeks, our topic has been love or pretense, basically dealing with parent and children relationship. What happens when a parent realizes that he does not love his child, or what happens when a parent realizes she does not have an affectionate love for one of her children. And of course, we had our definition of what love was, and it was a deep, tender feeling of affection or attachment or devotion to a person. Pretense was basically the definition of false show of something. And we pretty much came to our own definition of what love really is, and it's not particularly a feeling, but I think love is grounded in truth, and love is grounded in action to show truth. And basically, we know if people need a means of a financial means to make it, then basically love should include that. And we talked about the different things that love really should entail for us to have lifelong mates. In discussion one, we talked about why do people have children, and number one was unprotected sex. Number two was pressure from the family.
Right.
Number three was for religious reasons.
Right.
And then we had number four, which was loneliness. And then we talked about something called the Jones syndrome, where you just have a child because your best friend had one.
Right.
And you have another one because your best friend had nothing, like you're buying cars. Six, we talked about out of love, out of having true grounded love, about being able to financially take care of a child, to see that a child can go to college, basically to make sure that the house is stable and ready to receive a child. Number seven, we talked about people having babies because they're good money makers. If you can get a check at the end of the month for one and get food stamps, then a lot of people do have children for that reason. In our second discussion, we were asked if parents were morally obligated to love their children.
And I said, yes, you should. What, Sheri?
I think it's yes.
Yes, according to definition, and the definition is basically it has nothing to do with love. Morally, you do it because it's the right thing to do. You bought it, you brought it, you take care of it. In our third discussion, we talked about some reasons why parents may not love their children. And the first one is special needs. People who have children that don't have the ability to develop normally, like we see other people's children. And we talked about the shame that comes with that, and about how parents have a hard time and they may not be prepared and have not done anything to prepare them for a child with special needs.
Right.
We talked about unplanned pregnancy, which is no such thing. If you lay down,
you're going to get pregnant.
That's right. You lay down with dogs, you're going to get you a few
Unless,
fleas.
of course, you've gone through the surgery.
That's right. And it shouldn't be coming after that. We talked about number three, where the children possess characteristics of maybe an estranged spouse. And basically, we came to that had nothing to do with the child. That has to do with you and working through it. We talked about stepchildren, and realizing that people are marrying the parent, but they're not marrying the children. And and it's amazing if you do meet a woman who has children and you didn't know for the first 3 months that she had one.
Our man,
that may be telling you something.
Oh yeah, if a man, you
that's
marry
right.
a man.
Because we have baby mama drama. So, like I said, if that guy is, basically when you have a child with someone, you are connected for life through that child. So, and a lot of people need to really think about that before you get involved with someone who has children, or with someone who's been in a relationship with someone else and children were a product of that. Because basically all three of you will be married for the rest of your life.
Right, okay.
All four of you. If you have yours, so that's a lot of stuff going on in that. And discussion number 5, we talked about how important it was to, number 4, we talked about how important bonding is and what significance it has in a child and parent relationship. And today we're here at the discussion.
Number 6.
Number 6.
Yeah, we had number 6. We had stopped off at. Oh, yeah, you sort of missed out.
Number
What course
five.
of action,
Oh,
yeah, should a
understood.
parent
Yeah.
or parent take when they realize they haven't any love for their children? Should you pretend? Should you discuss the matter amongst or with your husband or with your spouse or significant other? Should you seek professional counseling? Should you attend parenting class? Should you allow the grandparent to raise the child? Or
Just keep away.
just consider adoption as a last resort?
I think it really should become a law. And as much as I'm against making laws, I think it should become a law where if you are going to have children, that you should be required to take classes.
Well, there is a
Like
law.
driving.
Well, but Louisiana just passed that law beginning in January that if you are married and you have a child,
You can't get divorced for a year.
right?
But that's stupid.
Well, it was supposedly encouraging.
Yeah, but it's stupid
marriage,
because you're doing it
the
at the wrong
continuation of
end.
marriage. Huh?
You should do it.
They should do it when you say we want to get married and we're coming for a marriage license. Then to get that marriage license, you should, if you're going to do it in the beginning. Don't do it in the end.
Go to parenting
So,
class.
what was the law you wanted to do? If you're going to get
Then
married,
if you're going to get your if
classes?
you're going to make a baby,
Oh,
or you're getting ready to make a baby, then you need to take you and he.
how would you enforce that?
Well, it's sort of difficult. Well, unless don't give them a license to marry.
No, don't give them no welfare check.
Oh,
And I'm not just talking about people on welfare. My thing is that before you can let them get in school, it's easy. There are easy ways to deal with this. Before they get in school, if you neglected it for 4 or 5 years, before they can become into any daycare facility, I don't care if it's church, I don't care if it's a government facility. If you're going to put them in daycare, you have to show the certificate that you went through these classes. If you're going to put them in public school, before they get in public school, just like you have to have a shot record, you have to show proof that you took the class. You're going to take it before they get in school.
I think it probably would be more effective if it was instituted, legislated that you must take this course before you are issued a license to marry.
Well,
Yeah.
a lot of people don't get married, don't get licensed to get married. They just live together. And the thing is, you have to catch them at a point that you know everybody's coming to. And what is that? School. So, I mean, the thing is, if you don't want to do it then, you're going to get it. Somewhere you're going to get these lessons. And if you do it before school, you're going to take an extra year of it. But, I mean, the thing is that if we require you to learn how to drive and you have to show a certificate, and if we require this, with other things, I think this is one of the most important jobs in the world. And because it affects the community. And we see how our community is affected.
And the world.
Right.
Yeah.
So, I mean, so the thing is, I really just believe that people really should,
But would it help?
Yes, it would help. Because
Well,
you
people
want to
have
know why?
accidents in cars every day.
But everybody ain't having one.
And they're taking
everybody
what the
ain't having
driver's
one.
test, huh?
But listen, but everybody's not having an accident.
Okay.
I mean, the thing is, yes, you will have those who just, it is not going to help, but at least they cannot say, I didn't know. Our basic problem in America is we're ignorant.
You think people that have kids and is not designed, they didn't purposely design this child to, when I say purposely, it was no thought given to that, oh yes, I do want a child and let's make this happen. People that choose to have kids have no clue on how to raise these children. And people who want to have children don't have a clue. But so who's to say that these people that implement these training classes, they're so well versed on teaching someone how to raise a child because they've been through it?
Well, some things are tried and proven. If you're beating a child to death every day, it ain't working.
Well,
you need to try another method. But if you don't know another method, then you're lost. I mean, the thing is that we have to realize you got to depend on somebody to know more than you do.
Yeah.
We don't just go and take medicine just because somebody who didn't graduate from high school just mix some stuff together and say, here, cure. No, we want them to have a college degree. We want them. So, I mean, the thing is, we want professionality in other things.
Yes.
So you should, so we should want it for our children that you don't know.
Okay, so that leads us to our next question.
Let's go to the screen.
Yeah.
Does there come a time when a parent should sever a relationship with a child?
Ooh, that's kind of heavy, huh? When you tell your child, I no longer want anything to do with you. Go away forever. I don't know.
No, you're talking about in a different way. I mean,
I'm talking.
explain that question.
Well, I'm talking about. Well, you can sever. I'm talking about severing a relationship from 6 months, 5 months, 6 years, 7 years, 25 years.
Yeah, but what are you asking in this question?
You're terminating. You're terminating.
Okay, hold a minute. You designed this question, but you need to explain a little bit more because everybody eventually comes to that.
Well, not necessarily because I mean, unless there's a falling out.
But you're talking about with a child. You're not talking about with somebody who's your child. So when you're talking about a child, you're talking about a pre-adolescence. Because see, I'm thinking 25-year-old,
child encompasses is your child until a child he may be 70 years old, but he's still your child.
So you go from the range of
childhood
to adulthood.
Anywhere in there.
Anytime.
Yeah, at any time. I mean, it can.
No. The question. I'm answering the question. No.
Why not?
There's no reason.
There's no reason. What if your child beating you up?
No. If it's see, that's what I'm talking about. If a child is rooted and grounded in the love that you have established, and it's a love relationship, there's no reason to sever a relationship.
Under those circumstances, yeah.
Okay, so that's when I was asking you, what did you mean by the question? If you're talking about bad children or children who murderers, or somebody who's beating your head every night, or you can't leave your purse down, crackheads and cocaine users.
The question was left open for each person's interpretation to answer it based on.
Okay, but it's such a wide question. That's what I was asking.
Oh, okay. You was trying to narrow. I wasn't trying to narrow it down. I was just simply put it out there. Does there come a time when a parent should say, "I'm through with you"?
Yes. If your child is beating you up, you put them out.
Put them out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if they're crackheads and they're
Get
stealing your money, if they are disrespectful adults and they just talk to you any kind of way they want to, yes. If they are children and you've gone through the parenting classes, you've gone through counseling, you've gone to Jesus, you've gone to your priest, you've gone to your parents, and you've gone to every avenue that's available. Counseling, you've taken them to juvenile court, let the counselors talk to them. When they didn't come on, you let them put them in jail for a few days to see if that would do it, and that didn't help.
And there shouldn't be any shame on your part.
Not if you exhausted every avenue and you've done all that you can do.
Yeah.
Then it's on them. Apparently, that's the way they want it.
That's the way they want it. And they are not interested at this point in their life to receive instruction. They're not interested at this point in life to take what you have to give. Then the thing for you to do, yes, is to, you've given them to a grandparent who live in the country, hoping that joker ran away and he
burned down the house.
Living across the street with the crackhead. Yeah, you need to leave him alone.
Well, do you think perhaps there should be an age limit where you would say, no, this shouldn't ever happen? This should never happen.
What never
where
happen?
You should sever a relationship
because
with a child.
Basically, a child can only give out what you put into him.
Okay.
No children are born bad. No children are born good. They're just born. And from the time that they stick their heads up, from the time they're in there listening, swimming around in water, you're putting into them. See, no child is bad on his own. No child is a bad seed by Satan on his own. What you put in is what you get out. You see what I'm saying? So the thing is that you have to realize that this is your creation.
Oh, well, if you look at it that way, let's look at the scenario we said before, and you have done all you can and you can't do any more, and you ask the question, well, should you feel shame?
Yes.
If it's your own creation and you try to fix it and fail, isn't that shameful?
I guess so. I mean,
because you created this monster.
You created it, and now that the tree is bent, you're trying to bend it back to another direction. Well, unfortunately, it's already bent in that direction. I'm still thinking that if you have a child from 1 to 10, and you fill him with good things, you fill him with the rooted thing, you do what you're supposed to do. I'm of the belief that when they turn into puberty and adolescence, they don't turn on you. Some parents have, the child just seems to turn on them. I think that if you implant the right thing, when they get to those ages, they remember you.
and not only what you say, who you are.
Who you are. See, now,
Not what you do either, but who you are.
And see, this is the reason, and I'm going to have to get on my little preacher friends. This is the reason why we have so much problem with PK children.
Mm-hmm.
You're in the pulpit, and in public you this. But when you get home, you're cold, you're indifferent to the mother, you're indifferent to the children, and you're so busy with God's business.
Mm-hmm.
And then the child resents you and God. Well, the thing is that you laid the path. This is what you laid. This is, who they are, because that's what you put into them.
Mm-hmm.
And so the thing is that I know that when you realize the formative ages are from the time they're conceived to 10 or 11, this is your time.
Mm-hmm.
This is your time where you are the God. This is your time where you are the master. This is the time when what you say bears weight.
Mm-hmm.
And what you say is rooted and it's grounded, and not only that, but it's you.
Mm-hmm.
Not you being mommy or you being daddy, but you being you. And they realize, well, this joker is just who he is. When he get in public, you know when my worst time in life was?
What's that?
I'll never forget. When I was in the fourth grade, and something happened at school, and one of the teachers abused me, because back then they used the tape sticks that they used to hit children. And so, and I had a cold. My mother sent me to school for cold, and I was just nodding and just doing what happened with cold. And so, of course, during music class, it got on the chair, and one of the children, you know how they are. And so the music teacher just came, didn't ask any questions, just started wailing.
Mm-hmm.
Well, anyway, I came home and told my mother. So at home, I'm going to tell her, and I'm going to tell her. And then when Mama got to school,
she didn't
do nothing. And I remember that.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when I say, you on your own.
Yeah.
You on your own, because this is a liar.
That point where we look at our parents and say, no.
Yeah, you okay. And in that day, something changed in me, because I saw her.
So, and that relates to love or pretense.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So the thing is that, we have to just realize that, with that, that's where we're at.
So in that instance, you saw a pretense, not
yeah,
really.
I saw who's supposed to have been protecting me, being down, because you're gonna do all this at home, but then when you get home, you listen to her, and you sent me to school with a cold.
Mm-hmm.
You know I was snotty and I didn't have tissues and da da da. You knew this. You see what I'm saying? So that let me know, okay, at this point, you're on your own, kid.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to fight for yourself. And that's what I've been doing ever since.
So when kids feel...
Bless your heart.
So when kids feel as though they're not loved, I'm sure there are consequences to that, right?
Of course.
Goodness gracious.
Well, speaking for myself, my grandmother raised me. My mother died when I was 4. And my father, for whatever reason, I'm still not sure, left the relationship. And I've never known him. Now, from that, I've always had that feeling. Thank God I'm finally getting over it.
Mm-hmm.
But I've always had that feeling that something was wrong with me.
Mm-hmm.
That I took it personal, his leaving personally. And yes, it did affect my relationships and the way I see the world and the way I see myself.
Mm-hmm.
So yes.
Yeah, I mean, and they do, now I was raised in a home where you had two parents. I had a nurturer, and my father was a provider. It was just the American.
Mm-hmm.
My mother didn't work, but he was cold.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, basically, he was just a provider. And I think the thing that kind of turned me off with him was, one day we used to have relatives who would come down from the north, and they had children who were our age. Now, my father never played with us. He never, But then these children came down, and I'm coming out of the house, and there he is playing with them, laughing and playing, and he never did that with us.
Mm-hmm.
And from that day forward, I realized he had the ability, but he didn't want to do it with us.
Yes. Does something to you, don't it?
No, yes, it does. And what it does, it takes away your childhood. Because now you're no longer in that cloudiness, just say, he don't like nobody.
Mm-hmm.
No, he don't like us.
Mm-hmm.
See what I'm saying? And, and so that kind of starts just setting you down the path. You know what I'm saying? Of relationships, like you say, looking for this, looking da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
So mentally, you severed your relationship at that point from your.
There was never a relationship. Yes, because there was nothing coming back.
So I think in a sense mentally you said, okay, I'm terminating this. I'm
No,
terminating
yeah,
this.
mentally, no. I think really, even for a child, I realized there was no need because there was nothing from him
To even
to sever. Right. Because, like I said, basically,
And we say even from a child, as if to say, I'm a child and I'm conscious. But I think children are more conscious than adults are.
Right.
To what's transpiring in their presence.
Yeah, because you can pretend, but we know. I mean, that's like in church. You see somebody and everybody loves you. Go, I don't like her. You just say, I don't like her. And then years later,
are good judges of character.
Right.
So with kids that are not loved by their parents, let's look at some of the realities that they face.
All right. Number one, neglect. And if you want to look at a messed up adult, you look at an adult who's been ignored by their parent. Abuse, abandonment, and behavioral problems.
Mm-hmm. And we have to realize that while we were looking at that does not necessarily mean physically neglected or physically abused or physically abandoned or behaviorally. I mean, with the behavior problem, the thing is, those are spiritual issues first.
Right. Your spirit.
Well, you spiritually neglect, or you're spiritually neglected, or you're spiritually abused. See, because the worst rejection is indifference.
Yeah,
I need to love you, nor do I hate you.
You're just there.
Yeah.
You're just there.
And I'm indifferent. And unfortunately, that's what most children receive. It's not that they get, I guarantee you, 90% of children who are in this position, most of them are not ever hit by a parent. Most of them are never raggedy. Most of them never go hungry. Most of them sitting in the suburbs.
You're right about that.
Now, do you think perhaps that it's not they're purposely...
With the parents?
Could it be that perhaps they're so involved in trying to maintain that life, going to work?
Or so involved in themselves.
And perceived self.
Well, I guess maybe perhaps the lifestyle that they are living require so much of their time that they don't have the quality time to give the children. Because they're having to go to work. When they get home, they're having to do this. They're having to do that. It just much of their time is occupied by chores or responsibilities, and it doesn't.